Well, this is chapter 12, the last chapter of this book. Last one we'll be covering. What we're going to do is we're going to basically kind of take everything we've learned throughout the first 11 chapters and kind of blend it all together into one. So it basically says we're going to apply the design, layout, and cascading style sheet skills you've learned throughout this book by building a home page for a fictional website. We're going to describe the design and process and decisions of a web designer and what that particular person would usually do in a day in, day out situation, and basically put it together in a website. We're going to test your work in multiple browsers for consistency, for progress. Because that's one big thing we always have to do as a web developer, is making sure that it fits what we call the four main browsers out there. We got Chrome, we got Internet Explorer, we've got Firefox, and then we have Safari. So there's also Opera, which I don't know how well it's used, but that's another one we can check as well. If it runs in those 4 to 5, then you're going to basically be okay. And you're also going to find out that it's going to look slightly different each one of those browsers. So something we really have to basically be very in tune to. Okay, so it first talks about, we sit down, we kind of sketch out what our website's going to look like, and that's kind of what this is. We drew out a piece of paper, we kind of draw it out, a lot of erasing, a lot of basically redrawing, a lot of different things kind of going on there. We kind of write down what each item is, and remember, this main box on the outside is what they call the wrapper. You can call it anything you want, you can call it the main box, whatever, but that's kind of the main page inside of the entire web page where it's going to basically reside. And then what we're going to do is, well, here's our specifications. So this might be a real world situation where we sit down with our business partners, our users, and they're going to say, okay, here's what we need. So the site of this particular page is called Dog World, and the focus of this website is basically it's an interest site for dog owners. I'm not going to read this verbatim to you. And then we're going to have a mission statement, what the website basically plans to project to the audience, and then basically the main elements that we want on this particular page. We're going to have a home page, we're going to have an editorial page, we're going to have dog advice, we're going to have reader emails, we're going to have training tips, and then breed lists. Okay, so that's going to be our web pages that we're going to be having throughout this entire website. Talks about our target audience, and then talks about design considerations. Okay. There it says the website must be accessible in all popular browsers based on the latest research. Our average prospective visitors uses Windows-based PC with Internet Explorer or Firefox as a primary browser. So it sounds as though they're just going to concentrate on those two. So then next thing we would do is we'd build a wireframe, kind of seeing how things basically fit within that wireframe. And I believe it was chapter 3 has those two websites where you can actually download those really nice wireframe programs to lay this out. And it gives us the spacing, it gives us the margins, it gives us everything that we need that we can then apply to our CSS within our HTML. So this is kind of what they've laid out. We've got our logo banner, we've got our navigation links, and we've got a column here on the left. We've got editorial advice and emails. We've got our feature story graphic, and here's our feature story 2. So we got one box, we got a box inside of another box. Same here, looks like we got a picture box probably inside of the editorial. We've got a search box, it's probably a form. That's going to be a form in there. We got our ad section, and we got a next month inside of our ad section. So this is basically what we want this thing to look like when we are done. So here's our logo. Too many dog photos, I like that. Here's links. Text is harder. So here is the first draft that the designer came up with, and we looked at it and we said, you know what? That logo looks too plain. There's way too many dogs up there. That's just really too busy. Make the dog bone look like a dog tag. Remove the link highlighting. Text is too hard to read inside that picture. Font is too small. Font is too crowded. So these are things that we kind of look at in our business partners. We sit down with our business partners. Again, first drafts, you rarely ever make it through as the first thing. Everybody kind of goes, well, I like that, but it looks like you could tweak this or tweak that or blah, blah, blah. And they kind of came up with all these different little tweaks that they want. So then we basically sat down and we did what they said. We made Dog World more interesting. We added some text below it. We have this dog print instead of those dog pictures. We actually moved the text to the right of the picture so that it's not inside the picture. We did add a dog tag link. We basically made the text a little more readable inside of the boxes, and we got some nice white spacing, so things are looking pretty good. So we then throw that to our users, our business partners. They look at it and go, looks good, let's go with it. Okay. Now there are two initial flavors of a web page, or whether it's a program, whatever the case may be. The first thing we just saw a second ago is what's called the alpha. That's the alpha test. People looked at it and said, and then we come up with our beta test. That's the next one. And then after beta testing, we actually put it out into the public website. Well, are we still done? No, we're going to find out that things just don't quite look right. We're going to find little things to tweak, and we're going to keep tweaking. It seems like we never stop tweaking, but we're always out there kind of tweaking things, making sure that things look pretty good. You know, talked about this in another one of the, I think I might have done this in class as well. But we talk about people who are vision impaired or people who are colorblind. There are certain colors that, for example, the picture, example in class I gave was a picture of raspberries. And these raspberries are black to a colorblind person, but to a normal sighted person, they're basically red and they look delicious. So these are things we have to really take in consideration when we're looking at colors and pictures and different things of that nature. And so here's our second draft. We looked at the red. Well, kind of said, well, it looks good. You know, there's a nice red text inside that picture that kind of blends it together, but you'd really need to change the font on some of those pictures because it really kind of washes out. That red's probably a little too bright. And they probably, the people would say, I really don't like that color as well. So we went back to this. So here's our final draft, okay? We've got our nice little logo up here. We've got the dog print. We've now got a search box. We've got some nice editorial, dog advice, reader emails. We've kind of got a couple of different stories in there with a picture inside. Here's our sponsor links, so on and so forth. Looks pretty good. Everybody likes it. We're going to go ahead and put this out into the real world in a public place. Okay. So now we got to, now within our wireframe, we hopefully we've got our pixels all laid out. So we've got 960 pixels wide. That's our wrapper class we're going to be using. It looks as though our first column's 990. We got 580 and then 156. And realize we do have some margins in there that we're going to be dealing with as well. And so because 190, 156, and 580 does not add up to 960. So we do have to consider that padding as well. So then we have to think of we want 15 pixel gutters between columns, margins. We got a 2 pixel gutter on the left hand side and a 2 pixel gutter on the right. We've got a JPEG here, a JPEG here, a JPEG here. So we got all these JPEGs that we have to deal with as well. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up this Dog World HTML. So if we look at this guy, so here it is. Here is our Dog World HTML. I basically open it, and this is what it looks like. Okay. It has no CSS applied to it at all. So this is just normal HTML. So if we look at this and open it up, we can see that in our style up here, we basically have no styling at all. Okay. We've got our header, we've got our navigation, here's our left column, here is our main column, here is our right column, okay? No specifics at all. So if we keep looking at the book here. So pretty generic, okay? We're going to make this guy look beautiful. So very first thing we got to do is we take a look. We've got so we already looked at all this, so everything looks pretty much the same. Okay, we got it broken down by column. So now we need to set the background color and default font. So first thing we need to do is come in here and basically say, we take the body and we make the font family Arial sans serif. Okay, so make this. So I say body. Well, first of all, they have that page background, but we're not going to worry about that because that's just eats up time. So we're going to say body, left brace is font dash family and Arial sans serif. We know what that does, correct? You better say yes. Okay, so I save it. I go back to the website and I take a look at the text, and when I do a refresh, watch what happens. Oh, it turns into a nice Arial font. Okay, sans serif meaning it doesn't have those little tags at the end as well. So meaning if Arial's not available, we're going to go to make sure the default sans serif font is basically there. Okay, so we then make the background color. So go back into here and we change the background color. Whatever 8 CAD 9A is. Do a refresh and voila, we have green, kind of a greenish, bluish, greenish, more greenish than bluish, but there we go. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is work on this page wrapper. So we're going to basically have a page wrapper. So I come in here and I'm going to create a div #, which is an ID, wrapper, and it's going to be a width of 960. Whoop. Pixels, and it's going to have a background color of white. Now, if we go down here, do we have a div tag? Do we have a... And it looks as though we do not have a div tag in here. So, let's go ahead and add some more. So, so we need to add a margin left of auto and a margin right of auto. Will make this wrapper automatically center on the page. And then what we will do is come down here to the body tag and we will type div ID equals wrapper. And it looks as though they have a nice comment in here to show that this is where the wrapper starts. I'm just going to say wrapper start. And then I'm going to go to the end where the body tag ends. Right before that, I'm going to put an ending div tag. And there I'm going to put another comment that says wrapper end. And I save this guy, and I come back here to Dog World and I do a refresh, and voila, nothing happens. Wow. What did I do wrong? Did I save it? I probably didn't save it. Save. Go here. Refresh. Nope. Okay, let's take a look at what I did wrong. So, I got diff. See? I was testing you guys. So, save it. Refresh, and there we go. That's exactly what I expected to happen. So there's my 960 wide pixel wrapper. It's got a black thin border. Still looks pretty wild, doesn't it? So let's continue on. And yeah, so we get the same exact thing. So remove the border property, okay? So let's remove the border. I'm just going to go ahead and comment it out. Does that work? I know it works when it's in a CSS. Yeah. Okay, so I commented that out. And now we want to do a page header. And so the page header is going to be a div ID header. So let's do that. Make sure I spelled div correctly this time. Header. And it's going to have a width of 960. Our header is going to be the same exact width as our wrapper class. It's going to have a height of 95. And we are going to end it. Nope, we are going to have a background image. Ha ha ha. So we have a background image of URL header background. Header bkg.jpg. And we save this guy. So now let's take a look at Dog World. Does that do anything for us? No, it does not. Why? Because we did not apply the header to that particular area. So what we need to do is add this div ID header to the header area. So we come back in here. I basically, where it says header, I come down and I say div ID header. So and I could actually do something like this that says header starts, and then come down here and put it right after this tag where it basically the div tag ends for the header, and I will put another comment that says header end. Save it, come back here, do a refresh, and voila, boy, look how nice that looks. So we got a nice background image with that particular guy. Now what does that image look like? Again, that is what it looks, this is what it looks like, okay? So it's a background image. We've left some room for a tag over there for the header text. Okay, so we're getting close, so it's looking better. So I think the next thing we're going to probably work on is our nav, okay, so which looks good. Styling the header text. Let's see, do we have a class and a subhead? They want us to add a class and a subhead, and we have to add those. Okay, so we're going to come in here to our header again, and we are going to put a H1 class head, H3 class subhead. So H1 class equals head, and H3 has class equals subhead. Okay. And what we need to then do is actually create those two up here in our style. We'll come up here and say H1 dot head and H3 dot subhead are going to have what? They are going to have a font family of Georgia, which is a serif font, Georgia, and it is a serif font, so it has the tags, and we want a margin left of 20 pixels. So we don't want that text up against the edge, and we want to change the color of the text to whatever 613838 is, and we are going to end it. Okay. They also want us to add an H1, just a separate H1 tag. So this is going to apply to both of those guys, or both classes. So this is just for the H1 dot head, and that is going to have a font size of 2.25 M's, which is pretty good size. Padding top. So again, padding is the margin inside of something, since it's inside of a wrapper, of 15 pixels. And then we save it. Okay. So now, since I have those two classes applied, we should see a change. So when I look at it, there I've got Dog World, sit, stay, browse. Now notice it's kind of hanging over a little bit, so we'll be fixing that. But we now have the color and the font style that we need, which is the Georgia. So here we've got, so here's our H3 subheads. Looks like we are going to fix it right here so it doesn't hang over anymore. So hit the enter key and say H3 dot subhead. Since it's got a dot, remember that's a class. And I'm going to change the margin top of that to -20, because remember we wanted to get that closer to the H1 text. So we do a -20 pixels, and we're going to change the letter spacing to 1 pixel. So we're going to tighten up the letter spacing.
Okay, is that the one that was sent though? Because they said they got the exact same.
1 pixel. And I save it. I come back over here, we do a refresh, and look at that. So now we've tightened up the letters, or did we space them? I think we might have spaced them. But anyways, so we spaced the letters correctly. We basically pushed it up closer to the H1 tag. Looks good. So we've got the header basically done at this point. Now let's work on the navigation bar. So we come over here to navigation. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put this UL, we're going to add an ID nav list. So I come over here to the code, and here's my UL. I want to type in ID equals nav list. Okay, so we've got that applied. Now we are going to go ahead and put this, well, let's just come up here and I'm going to put UL # nav list, because the # is a ID, nav list, and this is only going to apply to the list items. We're going to display inline, meaning it's going to go across. List style none, meaning since it's a bullet list, do not display the bullets. And last but not least, we want a padding right of 30. Again, padding is the margin inside of something. So the padding right. So let's see, is there any other style we're going to apply? Nope, that's it. So we save this guy. We come back over here to Dog World, we do a refresh, and look at that. So we removed the bullet points, we made it inline, but noticed we basically have things on two separate lines. So we need to deal with that. So we are going to, so the list wraps the next line. So we need to write a new rule that selects the URL element in the ID nav list. So, don't we already have that? Oh, this is just a nav list. Okay. So now I just do a UL # nav list. This is going to apply to the entire thing, not just the list item. And there we are going to put background color of 613838. I'm not going to remember that, so let's, there we go. And see if there's any more to go on there. And we want a margin top of -5. And we save that. We take a look at it. And boy, is that ugly. Well, we got some formatting of the font to do, so let's go back and see what we got to do there. We are going to do a UL nav list A, okay? So UL # nav list. I gotta need the A. Oh, LIA. LIA. So we're going to change the list item anchor tags to basically have a color of whatever $C6B 29E. And we're going to change the text decoration to none, meaning do not underline the text. So let's see what that does for us. And again, this is just for the list items anchor tags. Well, it gets us close. It gets us close, so it's able to read them, and they are clickable. So let's go back and see what else we need to do. Okay, we're going to change the font size to 0.85 EMs. So just below 1 M, we are going to change that to save it, and I think this is going to fix our problem. Yes, it does. So now we've got a nice nav bar. Okay, each one of those is clickable. Okay, I myself, they may do this later, I would probably change that so that when I was hovering over something it would change. So I'd probably add a hover to that. Okay, so now we need to add some padding. So you notice we don't really, this text is right up against there. So we're going to add some padding to our nav list. So this is my nav, just my plain old nav list. So padding. So 5 top, 5 right, 5 bottom, and 5 left. Okay, save it. Come back over here and that's a lot better. Okay, so now we've got our nav bar looking very, very good. I would also want to lighten up those letters a little bit so they just don't blend so much into that background, but again, not my website. So finally, the rule that selects the A statement adds a hover. Okay, so we are going to add a hover. We're going to put a nav. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Just like I said, I like the hover. So we are going to put a UL nav list. This is all goes with the nav. What's great is since we got nav list, ID nav list inside that nav list, this is going to take care of all of it. We're just keep adding piece by piece by piece by piece. So nav list LI A:hover. Since we only got one item, we'll just keep it all in one line. So we're going to change the text to white. There, I said I wanted to lighten it, and they did. Okay, so save it, test it, and there we go. So nice. Now we know when we have something that we can click on. Okay, so we're going to change the column divisions. We have a left column, main column, and a right column. So we are going to, again, to go back and look at that. So here's our left column. And I come over here and I type, it's going to be a div ID of left call. And it's going to float left. It's kind of a width of 190. And it's going to have a margin left of 2. We're going to come down here to where it says left column. And we are going to add a div tag, an ID of left call. Make sure we basically put where it's going to end, and it's going to end at the end of the reader emails. So right down here we are going to put an ending div tag. Okay. we take a look, see what it looks like, and ooh, we're getting close. Looking good. Looking good. Notice the editorial, dog advice, and reader emails kind of blend everywhere, but we're getting closer. So we do have a left column now that works. So, well, there's one on, but we'll see. So let's create the main column. And we come back up here and we type div ID main call, float left. We're going to basically have that a width of 580. We have a margin left. Of 15 pixels. And a margin right of 15 pixels. Come down here to where my main column starts, and I put a div ID equals main call, and I need to make sure I put an ending div tag right before the right column. Whoa, it's already got a div tag. How did that get in there? Huh. I guess they left it. So we save it. We take a look, and looks a lot better. Looks a lot better. How did the reader email get in there? Well, we'll see. Do we already have? Maybe they already had an ending div tag in there. Let's see. Oh, did I put it in the wrong spot? Yes, I did. Ha ha ha. Needs to go there. There we go. Let's save it. And look at it, and yep, there's our reader emails. Okay, so looking good, looking really good. Okay. Now we need to work on our right column, so we are going to scroll up here. And we are going to put div ID right call, and width is 156 pixels. We're going to float this guy right. And we're going to have a margin right of, now we're not worried about margin left because our main column had a margin right, so it took care of the margin there. So we didn't have to worry about that. Of 2 pixels, which is our gutter. Now, so we've got our right column set up, so we come down here to where the right column starts, and we're going to put div ID equals right call, and in right, does it go after the next month? Is that where they want it? Yep. So I put an ending div tag. And let's take a look, see what it looks like. Now, one thing that this website does not have, it looks like, is a footer. So I notice we lost our background. So let's take a look why that happened. Yeah, so they saw the same thing. So, oh yeah, we are going to have a footer. So now I'm going to create a footer. So right after where it says close wrapper, okay, we're going to add this footer area. So we're going to type right here, we are going to put div ID equals footer. Hit the enter key and then put an ending div tag. Now I really should have put comments on here where so we knew what each one of these div tags went for. And then it looks like we're probably going to come up here and add a div footer. So what we're looking for is this clear both. The clear both is going to basically get us our color back to our screen. So we are going to put div ID footer background color is $613,838. We've seen that color before. We've got a height of 20. So we always want our footer to have 20 pixel height. And we are also going to add clear both. So we're going to clear out the footers or the floaters. We're going to clear out all the floaters so that everything kind of basically gets separated between the right main and left columns and the footer. So I'll say clear both. We save it. We come back over to Dog World. We do a refresh, and voila, there is our footer at the bottom. So we have a nice footer. So we're getting close. It's looking pretty good. We do have a website that is looking very close. We still want to kind of format our right column, our left columns and our right columns, but I think other than that we're looking pretty good. So let's go back over here to the, let's see, yep. So we have the same exact thing. So now we need to smell what they call these small feature boxes, which is this basically we want to build these guys. So to do that, we are going to put right above the editorial and the advice. So we're going to basically do this. So down here above the editorial, we are going to put div class. The reason we're using class is probably because we're going to apply it to a whole bunch of different things. SM feature. A great thing I can do here is just do a copy of that and put that guy above dog advice. And reader emails. Okay, I need to make sure I put a ending div tag after each one. So right here, I'm going to put a ending div tag, and I'm going to put a comment that says SM feature end. We'll copy that. Okay, so we've got those applied. What's the style? So now we got to worry about what the style is. So if we come over here, and we're going to have two separate pages here. So we come up here to our styling, and we're going to put div dot, since it's a class, SM feature, and we're going to change the width to 190. We're going to change the height to auto, meaning how much ever text is there. And we are going to have a border of a thin solid line with the color of 613838, which we know what that is, and a margin bottom of 10 pixels. So we want 10 pixels below each box. We save this guy. Let's take a look, see what it looks like. And we can see we got boxes around our guys here. Doesn't look like it does in the book, but we're getting closer. So now we need to change the header font for each one of those boxes. So really slick, all we have to do is this, is do a div dot sm feature. So it's going to basically apply that feature to the h4 tag that's only inside of a small feature class. Okay? And so we're going to change that to a font family Arial. And if Arial's not available, make sure you grab the default sans serif font. We do not want tags on our fonts. We're going to change the font size to 85%. So it's going to be 85% of what is our default font size. And our color is going to be white. And our background is going to be the standard background color. Is going to be our standard #61383838. Let's save it. Let's take a look. And there we have our editorial, dog advice, and reader emails. Okay, we're getting closer. So let's add some more to that H4 tag. So we're going to type in text align center. So we want our text center aligned. We want the letter spacing 2 pixels, so we're going to actually spread those letters out a little bit. And we're going to add some padding. So we're going to basically make it just a half of an M. That's all the way around. Since I have padding of one number, that's top, bottom, or top right, bottom left. And we want a margin top of 0 because we're going to have that header box for that color be up against everything. Okay, so we save it, refresh, and there we have it. Wow. So there's our spacing, there's our padding, margin puts it up against the top of that box. So we have that taken care of. Now let's work on these pictures, these dog pictures. So we are going to create what is called a div s.sm feature. So we're going to create a class, but we're going to stay with the class sm feature. We're going to save any of the p paragraphs. Let's go ahead and change to this. So div.sm feature for our paragraphs are going to have a font family of Arial. And if Arial's not available, give us your default sans serif. We're going to have a font size 75%, so 75% of the default font size. The color is going to be black. And the margin is 10 pixels. So we're going to have our paragraph is going to have a margin of 10 pixels all the way around. So we save that, we take a look at it, and there we have it. So now we can see that we basically have the text the right size. I think we're going to be working on those pictures, correct? Yeah. So again, within the SM feature class, and this is the IMGs, so any IMGs within the SM feature class, we are going to style this way. We're going to float them left. That means the text will wrap around them automatically. Margin right of 5 pixels. And let's see what that looks like. So now we've got the float left. That means the text will, any text that goes that is after that image will basically wrap around it. We've got a margin on there of 10 pixels, so we can see the margin all the way around that picture. Since we had 10 pixels for our text, we have to have 10 pixels for the picture as well. So it's off the top, bottom, right, left. Looks good. So we got the right column basically done. We've got our center column, well, except for this guy. We got to get that guy floated. So let's look to see what that guy needs to do. So we're going to put an ID for our main column. So we have a div # or ID main call. All of our paragraphs are going to have this style. Font size of 85% of the default font size, and a line height of 1.25 ems. Okay. We save it. We take a look, and yep, so we basically reduced the font size a little bit, and we changed the line height, so we got a little more white space between the lines. Okay, so let's do our image.feature2. So any image that uses the feature2 class, so img.feature2 is going to float left and have a margin right of 5 pixels. So then what we need to do is make sure that our, they probably already have that in there. Let's see. So if we come down here to our main column, So there's our image width, boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's the main one. So let's go to, there it is. See, it's already got image source feature2.jpg. That shouldn't. Let's see what it looks like. No, I didn't think so. So what we need to do is this. We need to come in here to this feature2 and we need to add an ID equals feature2 and then save it. And now did I do it wrong? I'm sure I did. Let's see. So come up here, image feature2. Oh, it's a class. That's why. Dot feature2. The reason they probably made it a class is so they can apply it to different images throughout this website. So we save it, come up here, refresh, and voila, our picture is now, our text floats around that picture. Pretty cool. Getting closer. Now we're going to basically work on this right column, and we need to get this search box basically kind of laid out. So we're going to look at this. We're going to actually add this to the search. Okay, we're going to basically come down here. There it is. So there's the right column. And right after that, we're going to do a div ID. Almost made the same mistake again. Equals, whoop. ID equals search box, and then right after the form we are going to put an ending div tag, and I will put search box end. So we've got that applied. Now we need to actually get the class in there. So the style. Whoop, 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 whoop. So I'm going to go back up to the top, and I will put a div #, which is an ID tag of search box, and it's going to have a width of 155 pixels. Its height is auto, meaning make it fit due to the height of the picture. The border is going to be a thin, solid, and our standard color, 613838. And a margin bottom. Make sure we have this stuff pushed away from us, of 20 pixels. Okay, so save it, take a look, and we've got the box. Well, doesn't quite look the way we want it to, but so let's add some more to it. So we come in here and we say background color, background, which is going to be the color, is #9 3D 4CD, and the text align is going to be center. Save it, take a look, and there we have it. So we're not quite there yet, so we got some more to do to that guy. Oh, where's our background color? Did I do it? Let me see what I did. Forgot my D. Very unforgiving. So take a look. Yep, there we go. So it looks good. So now we're going to add to our search box our H4 tag. So it says anything that is within the search box, which is an H4 tag within the div ID of search box. We're going to change the font size to 85% of the default font. Color is going to be white. And the background color is going to be our favorite color of all time. A #613-838, and let's see what that does for us. So refresh, and oh, doesn't quite look the same. Looks like we're going to need to make sure we change the margin top to 0 and the padding. So let's do that. Yep, sure enough, there it is. So we're going to change the letter spacing. Add some spacing between the letters. We're going to make it 0.5 ems. Looks like we're going to tighten the padding, or the letter spacing. We're going to add, oh, I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. We're going to increase the spacing. I want to do 2 ems, so that'll really make it spaced. So padding is 0.5. And the margin top is going to be 0. And that should give us the same effect as we saw on the small feature side within the right column. And yes, it did. So text box is hanging off. I wonder what we can do there. Yeah, well, so we can basically now have our links section. So where we have our links image right above that, so right here we are going to put div ID equals links, and we're going to put it the end tag right after this image border. So we have that. While I'm in there, I'm going to see if I can change the width of that form, that text box. Yeah, let's make it a size of 15, see if that will help. Yeah, that helped. Okay. I can actually probably make it 16. Okay. So now let's go and add the formatting for the links. So come back up here to my style section, I add a div, #, which is an ID, links. We're going to change the width to 150 pixels. We're going to change the height to auto, fit whatever's in there automatically. And a border is a solid, thin line of our favorite color. Save it, refresh, and looks okay except for the links probably need some padding in there. So let's take a look. And yep, we're going to change the P tag. So let's change the P tag. So we're going to add a div #, anything with inside of links, which is a P tag with inside of links, is going to have padding left of 20 pixels. And we're going to have a div # links within our P tag. Any of our A links are going to have a color of our favorite color, 613-838. So div within the links tag of our paragraphs, once it's been visited, is going to have a color of $613-838. So we don't want them to basically change the color once they've been there. We want it to stay the same. Okay. Then we're going to change, I'm going to add a div # links. Anything with inside of links, that's a P tag, and is a hover. We're going to have that show up as a border bottom. We're going to change the border bottom color to a solid 613-838, again our favorite color. And we are going to change the div # links. Anything within the P tag that is an anchor tag is going to have no underline. Except the only time it's going to be underlined is when we have a hover. So text decoration is set to none. Okay, so save it. So we got our padding. We've got all of our links are going to be a certain color. All of our visitors are going to be the same color. When you hover, it's going to add a solid line, and all of the other anchor tags will have no underline because we've said the text decoration is none. So we basically refresh this, and sure enough, as I underline these guys, notice our picture down there probably needs to be centered, so that's probably one last thing that we need to do. Is we're going to say image class equals next month. So we will say class equals next month. And we are going to add this one last style. I think it's the last style, we'll see. Is img dot, since it's a class, we use a dot, next month as padding left of 15 pixels. Save it. view it, and looks great. Okay, so looks good, looks very good. This is how it looks like in Firefox. So let's see what it looks like. Let's open it in IE. So that's what it looks like in IE. We take a look at it in Firefox. Looks good there as well. And the last one, let's go ahead and see what it looks like with Safari. And it looks good there as well. So everything basically works the way it's supposed to, and life is good. So that's what the finished code looks like. That's what the finished page looks like. Everything looks beautiful. I would highly suggest going through this whole thing yourself, and not just watch your poor old instructor basically put this thing together. This is it. Make sure that you work on your final project. It should look something like this, not exactly like this, but it should have all the different pieces and parts and things that we've covered over the entire quarter. If any questions, give me a call.